We're gathered here today to dedicate Hunter Avenue to Tech Sergeant John Barish. John Barish was born April 29th, 1918. John entered the service in February of 1942. He trained at Camp Bowie, Texas, Camp Hood, Texas, and joined a tank unit at the mechanized unit, and after transferring to an infantry division, he was stationed at Fort George Meade, Maryland. John served with the 8th Infantry Division, 28th Infantry Regiment over in Europe. Unfortunately, on December 7th, 1944, John gave his life defending this country. John was awarded the Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and Expert Infantryman's Badge, and the Presidential Citation. John is buried and memorialized in Plot B, Row 11, Grave 13, at the Henry Chapel American Cemetery in Henry Chapel, Belgium. This is an American Battle Moment Commission location in Europe. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to the Deputy Mayor of Scotch Plains.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. As we honor our fallen hero, hometown hero, John Barish. I'd like to read a resolution on behalf of the Town Council and the people of Scotch Plains. Whereas the Township of Scotch Plains is honoring United States Army 28th Infantrymen Regiment, 8th Infantry Division, Tech Sergeant John Barish, with a ceremonial street sign to be placed at the intersection of Hunter Avenue and East 2nd Street at a memorial service today, Thursday, November 11th, 2021. And whereas John Barish was born on April 29, 1918 in Cranford, New Jersey, and attended Cranford High School. Before entering the military service, John Barish was employed by the Federal Shipbuilding Company in Kearney, New Jersey. And whereas John Barish entered the service in February 1942. John Barish trained at Camp Bowie, Texas, Camp Hood, Texas, and Fort Jackson, South Carolina, with a mechanized tank unit. After transferring to an infantry division, he was stationed at Camp Van Doren, Missouri, and Fort George Meade, Maryland. And whereas overseas since August, Sergeant Barish was awarded the Bronze Star in October for heroic conduct in the battle, and also awarded the Expert Infantryman's Badge. Sergeant Barish was killed in action in Germany on December 7th. Sergeant Barish is buried at Henri Chapelle American Cemetery in Belgium. And whereas Sergeant Barish and late wife Mary resided at 564 Hunter Avenue in Scotch Plains. John and his wife had a son, John Richard Barish, now deceased, who is also a Scotch Plains police officer. And whereas Sergeant Barish is being posthumously honored with a ceremonial street sign in recognition of the commitment he demonstrated to his country, dedicating his life to the welfare of the entire nation. And now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Scotch Plains that a ceremonial street sign identified as John Barish Way, Fallen Hero, World War II, shall be placed at the intersection of Hunter Avenue and East 2nd Street. At this time, I'd like to invite John Barish's grandson, Jason, and his family up for some remarks. Come on up. May we please see the sign unveiled. This is for you and your family.
Thank you.
I'll give this to you to hold. Thank you. Go for it.
I just want to say thank you to the American Legion, Post 209, Deputy Mayor Stamler, and the Town Council, Scotch Plains DPW, and all veterans past and present, and the citizens of Scotch Plains for their continued support of our veteran community. On behalf of my grandfather and the entire Barish family, we are deeply grateful for this honor. My grandfather is proud to serve this country, and we are equally proud of his distinguished service and sacrifice of this nation. Although he can't be here with us today, we will continue to serve as a reminder to all the many sacrifices made by brave men and women like my grandfather. Again, thank you for this great honor and your continued support of our veterans and Gold Star families. May God bless us all, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you. You like it? God bless.
Captain, at this time, prepare your squad for a rifle salute and the playing of taps. This concludes our dedication ceremonies for Technical Sergeant John Barish. I want to thank you all for coming out on this wonderful day. God bless John and his family. Don't forget, we have our Veterans Day ceremony.
Welcome to today's Veterans Day ceremony, sponsored by American Legion Post 209 and Veterans of Foreign War Post 10122. I'm Joe McCourt, a U.S. Army veteran of the Vietnam War. I will be your MC for today's program. Veterans Day is a day of celebration. We honor every man and woman who has served in the United States military, from the Revolutionary War to the global war on terrorism. Over the course of America's history, there has been those who have worn the uniform, those who have tenaciously defended our way of life, whom we will be ever grateful to. America's proud Marines, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Coast Guardmen. Every American reaps the benefits of their service. I'll begin our program with an invocation, so please remove your caps. O God, our Heavenly Father, you have blessed us with brave men and women who are willing to defend our freedom. May your protection and grace surround them each day. Let your healing hand be upon those who have suffered wounds and injuries. May those who have made the ultimate sacrifice rest forever in your presence. Comfort the families who mourn and are left to remember the precious lives of their loved ones. Help us to honor and support them. Let us ever be mindful of each sacrifice made on behalf of the American people by our sons, daughters, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, and friends. Amen. Captain, take charge of your squad and prepare them for the playing of the national anthem.
Color guard, and good. Preset, halt.
This time I'd like to ask Kevin Burns to come forward and share his thoughts on Veterans Day. Kevin is the commander of American Legion Post 209. He's a U.S. Army veteran of the Grenada conflict. Kevin, please come forward.
Good morning. Veterans, friends of veterans, family, and Legionnaires. We are here today to remember, we are here to honor all who have served in the U.S. military since our country's founding. Regardless of how one feels about policies that lead to war, let there be no doubt that veterans serve with honor. They serve to make life better for others, and they preserve our freedom. Not all veterans have seen war, but a common bond that they share an oath in which they express their willingness to die defending this nation. Perhaps most significant is preserving our way of life are the battles that America does not have to fight. Because those who wish us harm slink away in fear of the Coast Guard cutter, the Navy aircraft carrier, the Air Force fighter squadron, the Marine Corps fire team, and the Army soldier on patrol. And we are excited to add a new group of people to the ranks of the veteran, the men and women of the United States Space Force. We can be secure at home because brave warriors protect us in the air, at sea, on land, and beyond our atmosphere. In addition to foreign adversaries, many veterans have to battle invisible threats to their mental health and well-being. More than 20 veterans a day take their own lives. Only those who have experienced firsthand the horrors of combat can understand why so many of these young men and women feel compelled to take such drastic measures and permanent measures. Those of us gathered here to observe Veterans Day have already indicated our support for the outstanding men and women who have served our country. Tell veterans directly that you love them, that you appreciate them, and that you are grateful for their service. We are the friends, their families, their co-workers, and their neighbors. It is up to us to ensure that every veteran feels that his or her service to this country is appreciated by their fellow Americans. There are many tangible ways that we can acknowledge their sacrifice, but the easiest is to simply say, thank you for what you have done for our country. If he is showing signs of unhappiness or depression, encourage him to seek help through the VA immediately. If she has difficulty obtaining the benefits that she is entitled to, let her know that the American Legion has thousands of trained service officers nationwide that will help them navigate the bureaucracy free of charge. And if the veteran has made the supreme sacrifice, remember the price that has been paid for our freedom and offer your support to the loved ones left behind. Remember how occasions like this started. On the 11th hour, on the 11th day, and the 11th month of November 11th, 1918, the guns stopped. It was a moment to celebrate as the largest and deadliest war up until that time came to a merciful end. We still celebrate that moment, only today we call it Veterans Day. War is never anything to celebrate, but peace is. The peace between these horrific wars is brought to you mainly by our veterans. The sacrifice they brought forth during those wars is also made mostly by our veterans. That does not mean others don't suffer. Civilians are often killed and nobody understands the sacrifice more than the Gold Star families. We honor our fallen on Memorial Day, although American Legionnaires remember them every day. Veterans, however, is of all for who served. While many veterans are humble, there is no such thing as an insignificant military service. Veterans Day is important, but the symbolic way of saying thanks. But we should insist that our elected officials produce meaningful laws and public policies that will enhance the quality of life for veterans and their families. The American Legion is dedicated to remembering the legacy of all veterans because these men and women have done for us matters to America. It matters to the people overseas who we've liberated from tyranny due to the sacrifice of our military members. from defending communism, fascism, imperialism, and to liberating slaves. Keeping the peace during the Cold War, battling terrorism today, veterans have accomplished remarkable things throughout our nation's history. If you're an employer, give extra weight to the experience and skills of the sailor turned job applicant. Veterans' preference is a requirement for government jobs, but also smart business for the private sector as well. When an American Legionnaire auxiliary member asks for a donation for a poppy, remember a World War II veteran in a hospital bed. When a member of Congress complains about the cost of compensating the Vietnam War veterans for Agent Orange exposure, remember the lawmakers of the cost of being a veteran. In spite of the sacrifices that nearly all veterans have made and the horrors that some have experienced, the overwhelming majority are proud to have served. 19th century British philosopher John Stuart Mill summed up necessity of the special group of people when he wrote, I quote, "War is an ugly thing, but not the ugliest of things. The decayed state of moral and patriotic feeling which thinks that nothing is worth war is much worse. The person who has nothing for which he is willing to fight, nothing is more important than his own personal safety, is a miserable creature and has no chance of being free unless made and kept so by the exertions of better men than himself." Mill had it right. Fortunately for all of us, America has been blessed throughout history by such men and women. Thank you for being here. God bless America, and God bless our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. At this time, I'd like for Josh Lozado, Mayor of Scotch Plains, to come forward and share his remarks on Veterans Day. Mayor Lozado.
Good morning. Veterans among us, Deputy Mayor Stamler, Councilwoman Zimmerman, Manager Mirabella, and fellow residents of Scotch Plains. It is an honor and privilege to be with you today, Veterans Day. I respectfully ask that you look over your shoulder. You may look to your left or to your right, and I promise you will see an American hero worthy of the attention and recognition of our town, our state, and our country. We thank our heroic veterans who live right here in Scotch Plains and across the land for risking everything and answering the call to defend our great country. There are veterans here today who lived through 9/11 and bravely volunteered for military service in the days that followed to bring stability to the world. Others volunteered or were drafted and honorably served in the military long before and long after. Our town has been home to veterans of America's wars since the Revolutionary War, and we have always celebrated our veterans and their tremendous sacrifice. In the middle, right here on Front Street, just off Park Avenue, this monument, constructed by the Victory Celebration Committee of Scotch Plains to commemorate the contributions of our community during World War I. There is also a captured German cannon behind me, which was a gift from the United States government in appreciation of the fact that Scotch Plains had the largest percentage, that Scotch Plains contributed the largest percentage to the Victory Liberty Loan in any non-banking community in the 2nd Federal Reserve District. Scotch Plains raised at the time nearly $700,000. In a newspaper clipping located in the time capsule unearthed in the monument in 1995, it stated that the monument is to serve as a proper memorial to the boys who responded to the call of the Great World War and the part which Scotch Plains took in the Victory Liberty Loan when the town raised $700,000 against its quote of $25,500. This town has always supported its veterans. At a ceremony dedicating the monument, Assistant Secretary of the United States Treasury, Jewett Shouse, shared that at the base of the flagpole is a concrete pedestal upon which will be a bronze tablet showing the names of the 88 boys and 1 girl who responded to the call, 3 of whom made the supreme sacrifice. The Hometown Heroes banners that are displayed throughout the township and in Fanwood with the help of American Legion Post 209 and Veteran of Foreign Wars Post 10122 remind us that heroes live amongst us and that we are forever grateful. Just this morning, the Scotch Plains Board of Education held a ceremony renaming Park Middle School after Malcolm E. Nettingham, a Tuskegee Airman who was a true American hero living here in Scotch Plains. While all of us yearn for a world without conflict, none of us are naive. Conflicts large and small continue to be part of the human story, and until that is resolved, all of us are thankful, all of us are grateful for every American veteran because each one risked his or her life for our country. And we are also thankful to their families who sacrificed so much while their loved ones served. Non-veterans amongst us today and every day is a chance to say thank you for your service to an American veteran. And veterans amongst us, thank you, each of you, for stepping up, for defending our freedom and way of life, for answering our nation's call. Thank you for your selfless duty. On behalf of a grateful township, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mayor Lozado. Veterans Day means many things to many people, but as a veteran, this day is an emotional one for those of us who have worn our nation's uniform. For us, this is a day filled with memories, some wonderful and some horrific. We think today about our time in uniform, the good times and the bad. We think about this nation, its glorious past, and the concern we have for its future. But mostly, we think about what veterans have done for America, and we are filled with pride. When I think about my time in uniform, I remember the wonderful camaraderie, the tremendous sense of teamwork, and the singularity of purpose. We were young and full of energy and dreams. We all experienced a great adventure. We were learning to march, to handle a weapon, to defend ourselves in combat. We were very proud to be acquiring these ancient and historic skills. We were experiencing new freedoms and new confidence. We all enjoyed being an important part of something larger than ourselves. We were part of history, and a glorious one at that. Many of us, regardless of our backgrounds, were beginning to think about things like loyalty, patriotism, duty, honor, and country. Just a short time before, we had been school children, little leaguers, and somebody's kid. Within a few weeks, we had become American soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, or Coast Guardsmen. We were all heroes in our own eyes, and as far as we were concerned, no one ever looked better in uniform. In time, our bravado gave way to the realities of the military experience. Marching with pride was often replaced by hours of mindless road marches under heavy pack. The excitement of military protocol soon meant that we had to take orders from many individuals. Some were reasonable, and more often, some profoundly silly. We picked up tons of cigarette butts, painted thousands of rocks, and moved hundreds of boxes just because they needed to be there instead of here. For the lucky ones, these mindless drudgeries were the worst of the military experience. For those who walked in harm's way, the memories of drudgery were quickly replaced by other memories. Many of us today remember abject horror, incredible loss, and sometimes mind-numbing pain. We learned that what we thought was heroism was more often just someone surprised to be doing the right thing at the right time. Yes, becoming a veteran was a unique combination of the great and the horrible, but a life-changing experience for all of us. On Veterans Day, we spend a lot of time thinking about the events that made us veterans, with pride and with some sadness as well. Also on Veterans Day, we think about what a great nation we have served, those who have gone before us and those who serve America today. We are so proud of those who gave us the legacy of freedom and our proud military history. We are especially grateful to our World War II veterans. They are disappearing at the rate of some 200 each day. This means that there were approximately 240,000 veterans remaining from the 16 million who served our nation in World War II. We truly owe them a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. The greatest generation saved the world from tyranny. Then they returned home to build the land of prosperity and opportunity we all enjoy today. 70 years ago, America's troops were entangled in a bloody war for the Korean Peninsula. Today, I'm reminded that the Korean War was called the Forgotten War. As a veteran, I know that for those who served during that difficult time, it will never be forgotten. So I remember them today and pray their service and sacrifice will never be forgotten. For those who served during the Vietnam War, it took a long time for them to be welcomed home. These veterans were often ostracized by an American society who wanted to forget that divisive period in our nation's history. It took more than a decade or two after the Paris peace talks for our country's citizens to separate the warrior from the war. As veterans, we think a lot about those who participated in the global war on terrorism and those who serve in uniform today. These are America's new veterans. On this Veteran Day, we remember our troops still deployed in the Middle East and other dangerous assignments around the globe, and we worry about their future and the veterans they will face. On Veterans Day, I'm filled with pride in what American veterans have done for this country. I challenge you to name another group of Americans who have done more. America is still the most envied nation in the world. We are still the world standard for our freedom, enterprise, and opportunity. America's veterans deserve a significant portion of the credit for the America we enjoy today. I am proud of these United States, and I'm proud of the veterans who served and sacrificed to build and protect this nation. In closing, allow me to express the pride I have in the work of the men and women of many veterans organizations throughout our country. Each of us understands that freedom is not free. We will never cease to sing the praises of America's veterans and the wonderful nation we call home. Thank you. Those veterans in the audience, please raise your hand. I salute you and thank you for your service. And if you are standing next to one of these men and women, please shake their hand or give them a hug. They won't break. A special shout out goes to the Marine veterans who yesterday celebrated the 246th birthday of the Marine Corps, which was founded on November 10th, 1775. Semper Fi. In our community, there were two very special veterans-related programs today. At 9:30 this morning, a street sign at Hunter Avenue and East 2nd Street was dedicated in honor of Technical Sergeant John Barish, a fallen hero from World War II. John resided on Hunter Avenue in Scotch Plains with his wife Mary and his young son John at the time of his entry into military service in 1942. He served in the United States Army with the 28th Infantry Regiment, 8th Infantry Division in the European Theater of Operation. At the age of 26, John gave his life in action on December 7th, 1944 in the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest. John was awarded the Bronze Star and Purple Heart. He is interred in the Henri Chapelle American Cemetery in Hamburg, Belgium. At 10 o'clock this morning, there was a ceremony renaming Park Middle School to Malcolm E. Nettingham Middle School. A lifelong resident of Scotch Plains, Mr. Nettingham enlisted in the armed service as 1944. Shortly thereafter, he was accepted into the Army Air Corps, assigned to the 617th Squadron, 4th 177th Composite Group as a radio operator gunner. This unit eventually became known as the Tuskegee Airmen, the first African-American military aiders and support personnel in the United States Armed Forces. He, along with his fellow Tuskegee Airmen, were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. This is the highest civilian honor Congress may bestow. Mr. Nettingham served as the Grand Marshal of the 2014 Scotch Plains Fanwood Memorial Day Parade. He passed away on September 14th, 2020, at the age of 101. At this time, in recognition of our veterans, we'd like to have presentations of wreaths. The first wreath will be presented. First wreath will be presented on the behalf of the veterans of Farm Worth, Post 10122. It will be presented by Commander Earl Pavlik. Earl is a U.S. Army veteran of the Vietnam War. The next wreath will be presented on behalf of American Legion Post 209. It will be presented by Second Vice Commander Dennis Mayer, who's a U.S. Army veteran. Third wreath will be presented on behalf of the Korean War veterans. Representing the Korean War veterans is George Becker, U.S. Army veteran who served in Korea. The next wreath will be presented on behalf of World War II veterans. And representing the World War II veterans is William Kayemi, a U.S. Army veteran of World War II. William will be assisted by his son, William. The next wreath will be presented on behalf of Vietnam veterans and representing this organization of Bob Lacosta and Ralph Cecchio, both U.S. Army veterans of the Vietnam War. The next wreath will be presented on behalf of the Global War on Terrorism veterans. Presenting the wreaths will be representatives from PBA Local Number 87. They include Sergeant Ted Florio, U.S. Army veteran, and Lieutenant David Lavery, United States Marine Corps. Captain, take charge of your squad and prepare them for a rifle salute and the playing of taps.
Color guard, board, halt! Ready, aim, fire! Aim, fire! Aim, fire! Ready, roll! Reset, halt! Order! Halt! Parade! Rest!
I will conclude our service with a benediction, so please remove your caps. We ask for blessings on all those who have served in the armed forces of the United States. We ask for healing for the veterans who have been wounded in body and soul in conflicts around the globe. We pray especially for the young men and women in the thousands who are coming home from the global war on terrorism with injured bodies and traumatized spirits. Bring solace to them, O Lord. May we pray for them when they cannot pray. We ask for an end to all wars and the dawning of a new era of peace, as a way to honor all veterans of past wars. Have mercy on all our veterans from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and all other wars and conflicts. Bring peace to their hearts and peace to the regions they fought in. Bless all the soldiers who served in non-combative posts. May their calling to service continue in their lives in many positive ways. Give us all the creative vision to see a world which, grown weary with fighting, moves to affirming the life of every human being, and so moves beyond war. Hear our prayer, O Lord. Hear our prayer. That concludes our Veterans Day service here at in Scotch Plains. Next, the program will be at 12 noon at the Fanwood Memorial Library. Thank you for joining us today. May God bless America. May God bless our veterans. Thank you.